Everyone has been affected by the death that my job brings. And yet they still accept us for who and what we are. To them, we were never the enemy. No. We were always viewed as misguided children, I think. Raised in a world that they could never possibly understand. Why would one let children play games of death? Why do we allow our children in America such disrespect and violence against others? Why do we only believe in greed and service to self? All the unanswerable questions that I was constantly peppered with. Not out of malevolence but out of a sheer lack of understanding. They no more understood video games than they understood rap music. They did, however, have a tremendous insight into how the United States military was affecting the lives of the average Middle Eastern people. I found this absolutely fascinating that someone so isolated and so seemingly uneducated could have such insight into things that our best intel people couldn't get. The best part of the village for me was the peace that it brought my head. I was becoming aware of the very real consequences of the work that I was doing. Killing thousands of people was taking a heavy toll on my karma. I was normally in a very dark place inside my head, but in the village my mind was at peace. I could sleep without nightmares. I was able to rest without fear. I guess my mind always understood that it was my one place of solace in the whole cluster that I was in. No. Unfortunately, being a 9 meant dealing with a lot of pain that occurred inside my own thoughts. A moment's rest from these thoughts felt like a lifetime of pleasure. Oh, what my life would be if these crazy missiles hadn't never come into it. Tomahawk missiles are a fantastic pieces of modern-day warfare hardware. Unfortunately, their 70% accuracy rate and their propensity to blow up baby food factories on accident made them more of a liability than an asset. At $1.2 million a pop, the people that manufactured them wanted the Navy to keep buying them, so they built the box. The box was a device that could control a Tomahawk missile line of sight via an encrypted link. Unfortunately, it too had its flaws. It weighed 35 pounds and it was much too delicate for the role that it was going to fulfill. What they really needed was a bunch of eager young men that had the potential to become SEALs and electronics engineers at the same time. Enter the Nines. The Nines, or SEAL, Sierra Land, Team 9, was conceived to allow for the use of Tomahawk missiles to be used accurately in a counterinsurgency role shortly after the baby food factory incident. Three three-man teams whose primary role was to get within line of sight of a target, direct the Tomahawk missile to its target and get out without anyone knowing they were there. At that time, I was in the first of what would be many normal training courses in my military career. One day, I was pulled out of class to talk to a man that I had never met. It was a short conversation. Yes, I have any uncle that's a command master chief. I understand that he speaks very highly of me. Thank you. Would I be interested in doing a job in the Navy that no one has done before? Sure. After I graduated the school that I was attending, I was transferred to San Diego, California. There, I officially attended training on the Close in Weapons System, or CIWS, pronounced CIWS, and was assigned to a pre-commissioning ship that was in the process of being built. Officially, we were just normal soon-to-be ship-riding sailors. Unofficially, we all attended an experimental basic underwater demolition school, BUDS, course with a total of 10 people. The first thing that was easy to tell about all of us was that we all looked like anything but Navy SEALs, except for Crusher. Geeks would be the best word to describe the motley crew that showed up that day. Then we met Petty Officer Brian. P. O'Brien had no last name and no markings of any kind anywhere on his clothes. P. O'Brien was, however, very much in charge. It was something that we were all instantly aware of when he appeared. We spent much of the next hour discovering that we would be a class of trainees that had upper mental abilities that would be valuable to the SEALs. Therefore, we were going to be offered a chance to attend BUDS and complete all of the training in parallel with other classes, but we would have one distinct advantage. We would not be allowed to fail. We would be supported and encouraged instead of being beaten up and discouraged. And I remember thinking that maybe it was just going to be a bit of a cakewalk. A dog and pony show, so to speak. Big oops. No. Not being allowed to fail meant that we wouldn't be allowed to give up either. 8 weeks of non-stop pain and mental torture with only the end of Hell Week bringing any relief. It was rough at first. We sucked. Bad. We got our asses beat sun up to sundown to get us up to speed with the rest of the classes. That process really bound us together, and we steadily improved to the point that we were eventually the only boat team ever winning in drills when we were competing against other boat teams. Didn't go over very well with the real SEALs either. They didn't like the wannabes actually pulling it off. It was another year of training after that before we ever even started doing missions. At first, it wasn't even that big of a deal. More like a realistic video game. Me, Ray and Crusher would get secreted off whatever ship we were riding on at the time to some unknown destination. We'd get briefed, outfitted, equipped, and armed. We'd get delivered to the target mostly by extraordinary means. We'd hit the target and egress as quiet as ghosts. Debrief, and then it's off to some conveniently located paradise for a week of liberty, paid time off. And let me tell you, we pushed the word liberty to its limits. Hell, we were good at getting into trouble. 3 rowdy assholes that came in, drank all day, started a fight and left with the hottest women there. It was standard after mission blow-off procedure. Yeah, there was a whole haluva, a lot of crazy, unbelievable crap in the middle of that, but that all became very normal too. They sent us everywhere and we did some of the craziest shit ever. Excitement. Adventure. Defying death on a regular basis only to do something twice as dangerous the next mission. It was exactly what we were promised. The fine print is what we all missed. Yes, life within the village always seemed calm except for now. My thoughts snapped back to the present day. Before I could even see the village with the UAV, I knew what we was going to find. A black crater the size of a football field with a random wing or nose, a coney or tail section or turbofan blade, something that said that it was a tomahawk and not just another LGB. I left Ray and Crusher standing at the edge of the destruction to scout the locations that we would have used if we were doing the mission. Sure enough. There's it is. Chew spit. I ran back down to the rest of the team. It was Rob's team. I said to no one in particular. What the fuck does this mean, Ray? This can't seriously be happening. Why would they burn this place after the intel that we just got? Akbar said imminent threat to the the United States. Something to do with pilots. How are they going to follow up if they destroyed the source of the info, Ray? It took me half a second to realize that I was screaming at a superior before I collapsed. As tears poured out of my eyes, did we really get all of these people killed? Crusher was never a deeply emotional guy, but it was easy to see the tears. Ray just looked lost. It was several minutes before anyone said anything. It was Ray that finally spoke. This is FOBAR and I want answers. We're chalks out. Seconds later, we were in the Sandrail and returning to base. We blew off our scheduled evac plan and just drove back. No one spoke during the hours it took to get back to the base. 10 years it's been since that day. I can't believe this is all coming up now. What has my life become? Well, let's evaluate. The night before last, My wife decided that she wanted to be with a famous Hollywood actor named Lars Gallahan more than me. Problem with that is that Lars is quite famous for his ability to corrupt any woman's values with his money. He rolls into the clubs and gets a BJ from any random cumbucket that would suck his dick, then promises them a role in his next movie. Of course, they all go home and bang him. Too bad none of them talk to each other enough to know that he never delivers on that promise. He symbolizes everything screwed up about Vegas. I mean seriously, you'd think that a guy that barely survived cancer and had his family rob him blind during the process would find some scruples in his life. I guess that's what happens when they give his bitch of a mom the Mother of the Year award after stealing millions from her own son. Talk about mommy issues. Can't wait to see what his karma has in store for him next. I mean, if a bout with cancer can't turn your life around, then nothing will. Now, Mr. What Love Is has my wife in his sights and he's going to screw her up too. I wonder if he'd be messing with her if he knew who I was. It's education time and I'm the professor in this class. I wish I could say that this situation was anything but normal for my life. I guess that's based on how one defines normal. Normal is being married to the most stunningly beautiful woman in the world and her name is Beverly Hills. Normal is a highly modified BMW M3 with Lambo doors. Normal is having a 45-pound pet serval named Zeus. Normal is going to Area 51 for advanced site training and being told that your instructor is an alien. Normal is a 4-foot-tall stereotypical gray-skinned alien with a big head and black eyes strolling into class that proceeds to tell everyone in the room basically what you're thinking. Normal is having sex with hundreds of the most beautiful and sexual women in the world that most men would give their left nut to be with. Normal is going to the 2008 AVNs and having the best three-way of my life with Bev and a stripper named Marilyn. To date, still the best sex I've ever had. Normal is moving to Vegas after that and having a bad romance with Marilyn while Bev has one with her fiancé. Normal is Marilyn Christine J going into porn after that and winning the award for best three-way at the 2011 AVNs. Normal is accidentally drinking 3 ounces of GHB in a Vegas hotel room that I thought was water and going into a 36-hour coma cause I can't throw up anymore. Normal is being able to convert a gasoline-powered generator to run on water as its fuel source. Normal is a 2-year-long war with the Las Vegas Metro Police Department that lets me constantly dig with the police. So yeah, completely normal based on my life to date. Now I'm here in the only place in the world that I can find solace. The ranch. 20 acres, 2 houses, a barn, a non-profit animal shelter, 7 horses, 1 dog and 200 plus cats. Now we aren't talking all normal cats. There's some monsters here. Servals, Geoffroys and high-percentage savannas. Just the kind of place where Zeus fits in. Charles and Aaron own the ranch. Bev and I met them about a year ago when we were purchasing a couple of Bengal cats.